Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Judging by the title, I take it you want to see my book I illustrated all by myself for a college project a little while ago. Or maybe you're here for some tips on how I illustrated it, or you're just interested in the art. Whatever reason you're here, I welcome you. And I must apologize about my nails. They're probably not the nicest to look at the moment. You want to get some falsies soon. For how this video is going to play out, I'm going to go through the story with you guys first, and then I'm going to go through my sketchbook on the side while I was making this, so you can see my process, my thoughts, my decision making, the characters, some behind the scenes, and stuff like that. And I'll also give my input. If you are interested in certain parts that are not going to come first in the video, I will leave some timestamps for you just to make your life a little bit easier. And let's get into the story. So yeah, we don't talk about the binding of this. I'm not a bookmaker, I'm an illustrator, so that's not my problem. But that is the story and the illustrations. I hope you liked it. I have quite a few things about this that I think is quite interesting for behind the scenes that I can get into. This was my sketchbook at the time while creating this for my project at college. You can definitely see a few things I'm interested in on my sketchbook. For this one, I just did Overwatch and Nana. Winton. So, I believe there's a couple of things related in this plastic seal. However, I think we need to go back. So, over the summer holidays, that's when I was making this book. I just about finished it in time for the Halloween break. That was the time frame. Got back from the summer holidays. I had a few random tasks to complete, and it ended up giving me a bunch of random data that I have no clue what I was doing with. It's really hard to explain to someone who wasn't in my course, but often you'll be told to do things and you don't know what it means, but it will make sense eventually. This was one of them. As for visuals, very random stuff we had to do. It was just a lot of cutting up paper and following instructions that I couldn't tell you about now because make my brain hurt. As you can see, very complicated, very random looking things I was doing. And here's actually the first appearance of Onyx and Nubelix, right there. This was a random shape that was generated by using my data, and I ended up seeing the two hooded characters looking at each other in like a scene. And despite this whole thing being kind of like a starter, I got really into the idea of these being these characters, so I turned it into this illustration right there, kind of like a cover, and then I had to make some random faces from shapes and stuff. Then I decided I'm gonna make the zine about my two previous characters. One will be a fighter who's too hard on themselves, and the other will teach them it's okay to rest and failure can positively impact you. Here are the very low maintenance first storyboards of this. Don't even question, this was legible to me at the time. I can still kind of understand which scenes are what, especially because of the text. The text underneath helps, but this is a sword. That's a split screen. I didn't know what I wanted here, but I knew I wanted that split. You get the scenes out actually, so you can see which is what. That's the zigzag. That is that one. I didn't end up doing something like this actually. I just did these instead. Then the third scene is this one, except I replaced swords to kind of symbolize. I was thinking of what was I thinking of? Tarot cards, like the swords. I don't know. I thought it was kind of symbolic. Then it skips quite a lot there to number 4, where it's meeting Nublix. Then number 5 is the scene where they're drinking tea together on the bench. I think this scene is really cute personally. It's one of my favorites. And then I was gonna have a scene where it's like very emotional and it's like you need to feel things, but instead I did this. I made it very like magical, obviously not realistic at all, like visions. I gave him visions instead of just feeling the emotions up front, because I feel like this is something that had to come unnaturally to him at first so he can learn to understand. And number 7, it's all the way at the end. That's that little quote here. Then the 8th scene, I am my own prophecy, I suppose would be this. Now I know what you're thinking, why is there such a small storyboard for this extremely long story? It's over 100 pages, by the way. I definitely went over time when creating that, but it was so worth it and I thoroughly enjoyed the process. And that is because I actually made the zine I was talking about. This is the official first version. This is the same cover that I showed you earlier. Need to be the best. There you go. That's the split. That's the oh no. It was originally going to look like that and not the swords. 2 changes with prophecy. Kind of the same idea with the feeling thing. And I wanted to definitely make this the end page. I knew that for sure. Early ideas, which I think is so precious to keep, in my opinion. Yeah. And then I went on to develop my ideas a little bit. This is very overwhelming, I'm aware. I'll get through it. So I did many of design sheets of just, you know, let me show you. Designs and POVs and scenes that I wanted to do, you know, and I actually have that in person right here. Let me get it out. This is Onyx's kind of like card. I did some of his interests and his traits. This is his solar blade, which is his sword. He also really loves tea, so I put that there. Too hardworking, made from nuclear gas. Skilled, fearless fighter. Seeks adventure and new experiences, and he floats to move around. Very fun. I also thought it'd be worth showing some scenes that I drew, very early versions and concepts, trying out the paneling, because this was my first time doing a comic as well. Yes, and I do have the original of the very first cover I made. You can see the beautiful ink lines and the characters. This is how they're supposed to look. They're actually very similar in size, which I did end up thinking was a bad idea. I wanted Nublix to look more older than Onyx, to kind of display more of a leader kind of role in his life. And some key like differentiation, like I can't say that word, between the two, I think is important to note, is that Nublix has one point at the end of the hood. Onyx has lots of little points like that. There's also something that gives away the fact that this is actually him to himself. in the beginning, and that's kind of the twist towards the end. And in here is genuinely all like the disgusting tracing paper data bits I had to do. Honestly, it wasn't too bad at the time. It was just, yeah, it's a very good way of working. Like, my course definitely makes absolutely certain that we don't know what we're getting into, and so that we will get something unique every time. These are some mind maps of things I wanted to include, sort of like rules and systems to extract into starting points. This is all based on my key rack, by the way. The key rack and those shapes at the beginning. Let me explain. Because I had to take a picture of something every single day in the summer holidays that would be interesting. I chose my key rack to kind of show how often people are going in and out the house. You know, I just thought it would be fun. And that ended up becoming using the keys as a part of my narrative, maybe to suggest a portal or a secret door, or going through one door and out another. The key rack itself could manifest into the illustration, for example, a coat rack, or the frequency of characters' appearances from how many keys were gone in each day. Like, it's really, like, I was thinking of having these little silly characters that alternated places throughout the story as like an Easter egg. That would be exactly how the keys were every single day, alternating. I'm not sure. I didn't end up doing that because it felt wrong. And of course, like, contextual research on the keys and sayings that go with it. For example, the key to happiness, the key to success, you know, stuff like that. And I decided to look even more into keys because I was like, wait, let's think. So I thought things like secrets, stages, answers, puzzles, finding the right key, the key to happiness, the key to someone's heart. And I did also think about a keyhole at this stage, which you did see in the story. So also thought about flowchart narratives where it's like you'll be given an event and whether what you choose yes or no in that event is what will happen. I can't explain it. Kind of like keys to open the next part of the story, like in games, like what I wrote there. So it's like decision based, you know. I didn't end up doing that because I ended up doing a book, not a game, but yeah. Games for inspiration: Hollow Knight. Heavily inspired by Hollow Knight. Don't know if you can tell. Shout out that game. I've barely completed it. I'm sorry guys, I'm a fraud. But maybe I will one day. I just found it very difficult. Bigger close-up of my character sheet. And by this point, this is what I've looked at. A new owl character whose job is to control the day and night cycle. That's a little fun fact about Owlette for you. Onyx's transformation, scenes displaying Nubelix's and Onyx's dynamic, and potential scenes. I also really like this design sheet I did. I don't know if you can see that. I thought the black and white was really lovely, and you'll notice I used this exact scene actually in the finishing book. That's Owlette using the day and night powers there, which didn't end up being in the story because it was a bit irrelevant, but Owlette is very cool as a character. You just don't see much of him, unfortunately. And here is kind of contextual again, going back to my initial data research. And when I was looking at this picture, my tracing paper ugly research I showed you earlier, it looked really like sporadic and random. And I thought maybe I could link this to the paneling, sort of how like that goes like down, da 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 da. I thought da 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 da. I didn't end up thinking about this that much, but it was my thought process, you know, it's good to include. One thing about me, guys, I love a to-do list. Remember that. And here is the official start of the storyline. Act 1, Act 2, and I realised this was getting a little bit long, so this was my first sign that this book might be a bit long. This is the first sort of like illustration, I guess, of Onyx, like a character card, I guess, like a collector's thing, and sort of just how I wanted Onyx to be as the main character. You'll notice that that looks a little bit like that, because that scene that I showed you was inspired by this first sort of like card I did. So you can see some things that I've sort of like headcanoned for this character. Becomes the safekeeper of the shadows, sees Nubelix as a safe parental figure, symbol of control and transformation. I also considered Onyx to potentially maybe be non-binary if we're like going into that, but I kind of thought it was a little bit irrelevant to the story, so I put it there, but it's an optional thing to think about. If you want to think about it, do that, as technically Onyx is made from nuclear glass, so it doesn't really matter as it was fictional. Anyway, struggles with mental health and brave, so do what you will with that. I just thought people like to had canon things, and yes. Now about actual facts about Onyx, I wanted Onyx to directly reflect my own coping strategies with anxiety, as this is something I feel like I've dealt with my whole life. However, as sort of like growing older into like an adult now, it's gotten a lot worse. Kind of shows up in ways that it didn't before, you know. Say from the age of 12 I definitely showed signs, but it's definitely a thing now. I can tell you that. I definitely have a problem with it, and it's severe enough to go to therapy for it, so don't cancel me. These coping themes linked to like the characters and their interactions. For example, the deep breathing and meditation from Owlette, herbal teas, which is something I find like so much comfort in. The ones I actually drink is chamomile and peppermint from Finch. Finch, fun little Easter egg. Finch app, I highly recommend it if you're an anxious individual or you like a routine. This is such a great app. I could not recommend it enough. It's so lovely. You take care of a little Finch pet as well as you take care of yourself. Affection and human connection, Nubelix, sort of being that safe figure for Onyx. Hobbies such as baking and making tea and art, and that's Penelope. And in case you didn't clock what the ending was, it was kind of like a boss fight between Onyx and Onyx itself. It's a weird parallel between the finishing of the story and the very beginning. So quite literally like, yeah, a portal. Here is some early media experimentation. These are all things I've considered or have done. This is digital. I did it on my iPad. Was not a fan of it because it felt as if it was like lacking a bit of life. Something that the like book, let me get up this exact scene actually for you to compare. This feels like it has so much more life and texture and fun than that, in my opinion. It feels a bit too clean, you know? Anyway, I considered engraving with laser cutters, wood, plastic, fabric, making holes using a bradawl and a tracing wheel, which I actually did, by the way, to make all the texture. As you can see, these beautiful dots here that kind of go inwards, that's from a bradawl, and a tracing wheel, which my fashion specialist like recommended to me to do, and I actually ended up falling in love with it. I'm so gonna do this in the future. So I just looked in my pencil case and it's not actually there, but I ended up trying to get my own one. This was the only thing I could find that was remotely similar, but it really isn't because it's actually a crochet hook. But yeah, this wouldn't be too effective, but it would if it's a teensy tiny little drawing. I have another one of these that is actually a lot better and the needle's thicker for this, but I couldn't find it in my pencil case, so this is the closest example I can find of a bradawl for you. I considered stenciling and stippling, which I kind of did, but not really. Using the heat press for colour washing, I did not do that. And sort of by doing this digital experiment made me realise maybe there's something else I can do traditionally that can mimic the screen turns, which is exactly the bradawl did for me. So I love this, and I feel like this is such a me thing and I love it. This is a character design sheet, some first sketches of the characters, Finch, Owlette and Penelope. Here is the very beginning of my storyboard. I don't know why I said it like that. This has 38 little boxes just on this sheet, and I was not even halfway through the story, so I knew from that point this was going to be a long one, but I was so down. I even tried another bit on digital and I wasn't sure about it really. It is some further experimentation with the bradawl with colour. These are watercolour paints. Oh yeah, there's a picture of the actual things I used. The original bradawl and tracing wheel, amazing. That's the design sheet I did underneath it. And I did put here that it definitely reminded me of Braille, which I thought I could potentially do this sort of Braille thing, whole texture thing again as Braille. I think that would be very cool. I had 2 weeks left at this point. Yeah, I kind of came up with the characters as I was writing the story and doing the actual making at the same time. You speed up the process in a way. I did have to actually shorten the story, believe it or not. Here's where I decided I was not going to do digital, I was going to do traditional. I was going to do the ink and the tracing wheel and the Braddle and no more storyboarding. So that means from this point onwards I was winging it, winging the entire story, the scenes, the panels, everything. This was like my last page, like my thoughts and feelings on the thing as a whole. I've learned a lot from this project. I learned I love ink, texture art, Braddles, and limit/track the workload I put on myself because I did a lot of work. Wouldn't say it was a healthy process. I did also think, what if this was mass produced? I thought it could be an exclusive, only one comic could find a way to produce that won't erase the texture, which I didn't know how to do. Thought I could make it readable on Webtoon. Would have done it by now if I knew how to do it, guys. Don't know how to make it the exact size and everything with the resources I have because I don't have Photoshop, anything like that from home. I quite literally, for digital stuff, I literally only have IBS Paint X. I know. I completed everything on the 4th of November. 98 pages, not 100. Sorry guys, I lied. Just some finishing pictures, I suppose. Lovely. That is pretty much my sketchbook of process along the side of, you know, the book, making it and stuff. Now I'm gonna take you through kind of the tips, you know, my takeaways from this experience. Low-key, like while I was doing this, I very much hit a flow state a few times, you know, like I didn't have to think twice about making like side profiles or back profiles, front profiles of my characters because I quite helpfully, which I totally recommend doing this if you are making a book or you have a character, do a design sheet of the character and have the front POV, both of the side POVs and the back POV. Thank me later, you will not struggle drawing them in scenes anymore. Even better if you have like a 3/4 view as well, but I didn't bother with that. As for ink, I quite literally took ink from my college and put it in a Pepsi bottle and I took it home, and the only materials I needed/had was a glass jar and probably these exact paintbrushes, guys. We've been through a lot, as you can tell. You can actually see the physical darkening of this brush due to the inking of this book. I'll take you through what things I've learnt from handling ink so much and the pages and stuff like that. Guys, I decided I can do a bit better than just explain it, and I'm gonna actually take you through doing a page with me. I can't decide if I should do a scenery or if I should do one of my characters. Right, I've decided I am gonna go with one of these scenes. I haven't decided what one, but I'm gonna do it. You're gonna watch me in action and it's gonna be great. Basically, every single time I would start with the sketch. What you'll need for this is just a simple pencil and rubber, okay? This is really a 6B, are you serious? Something about me, I love a light pencil, I hate, oh goodness. Anyway, I might box off a section actually, just to make sure I'm not doing like a massive piece, as I'm just showing you. Let's just give this a little bit of a floor. Let's do a, what do you call this? A trunk? I don't remember. Looks questionable at the moment, but I'm just adding some like kind of like guidelines for myself later. Now what I did for these trees, I kind of drew the bulk, like the leaves first, so that they could kind of merge together and I wouldn't have to think about it later. Looks kind of funky, but that's just the vibe. Think of like mushrooms, mushroomy trees. That's what I was going for. I might be a little bit rusty, it's been a while. So top of the tree, kind of like that. Kind of, I like my this type of tree in particular to be spiky, very spiky, very spiky. Yes, actually thinking about the ground, I might lower it to here and bring this down a little bit more. way, just to make the trees look a little bit more taller and the placing of that to make a bit more sense. And just for interest, let's do a little whoop. I also love adding those to trees. It's a very me thing to do, by the way. Very on brand. This is such like a questionable illustration, I'm so sorry, but this is just an example, chat. And now we're gonna add some lovely bushes in the background. Obviously this won't look identical as I'm not like looking at the other drawing the whole time, but I'm just trying to give you the general gist, you know. Add some more trees, bushes. I'm actually losing it, guys, I'm losing it. So this would be like a very rough sketch. Now what I'm gonna do, because my pencil is so dark, I'm gonna like lighten it up a little bit and rub some of this out. I would have done this anyway, and I do this by kind of lightly grazing the paper with the side of my rubber. I'm sure if you're already an artist you know this, but some of you are probably not, and that's okay. Now I have this going on, which is perfect for the inking stage. This is the actual bottle of ink. Yeah. This is the Pepsi Max famous bottle that actually my best friend drank out of this and was like, do you want to take some of the ink home in this? We washed it out, don't worry, we have sinks at college. And I was like, you know what, yeah, that's really whimsical of me, I'm gonna do that. And so I did, and I still have it. Don't drink. For the ink will need its own container as well as a container of water. Now for the ink, I recommend that you try and find a ratio. You won't know the ratio at first, like you'll have no idea, especially, oh wow, it has a scent, not a good one, especially if it's been a while and you just don't. It's important to find a good ratio of water to ink when you're using the ink, because what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna layer it up, so you don't want to use like the darkest color you can find, because we're gonna build it up gradually, guys. No point rushing something that takes time. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do a little bit of water in there. You might have thought that was a lot, and it kind of was, but this is good actually. You don't want it too dark, especially starting off, guys. So I'm going to put all of my brushes in the water one, let them soak a little bit, and then we will begin. Please ignore all of the pencil shavings. Yeah, you can put your pencil and rubber away now. We will not be needing them. Put your ink container and water where you're not going to accidentally mistake it for your tea, and let's begin. I like this little baby brush because it's good for starting off. It's little, it's cute. Often I would begin by marking out where the ground is for some reason. I feel like the ground is a very basic and safe place to begin. And what I would do here, I'll dip it a little bit in my water, and then underneath I would paint on the water and keep it wet. You know, that's a key thing with ink. You should keep it wet, and by brushing very gently, by the way, you need like a thick kind of paper to keep on doing the layers. I do not have a great paper I'm using right now, but you'll see that it's kind of created a very gradual line, kind of like a gradient, and that's great. Keep that there. Now we can start building up colors and shadows and kind of from the get-go. So just think logically where things would go. For example, underneath these layers of leaves, there would probably be a shadow, especially within the context of this being like a cartoony kind of thing. Again, I'm being like quite careful of like adding too much or too little color. You know, you don't want to do too much. You don't want to overload it quickly. And now let's do this big tree. Let's do this big tree. I like choosing a side, preferably where the light is not coming from, but I don't like thinking about that. Call me a fraud, I don't care. I just don't like thinking about light sources. Like this doesn't, I don't know if that makes sense with where I put the shadow, but I'm putting it there. So this is where I've chosen to place the shadow of my tree. Now you may be thinking, actually no, you're probably not thinking this at all, but with like this, I leave it to dry. I do the darkest shadows first so that I can go back, layer another one on but go over it, so that that's a darker shadow, but then there's also a lighter shadow next to it. So you're not just like trying to do it all, then going back over it and it's smudging together and it's ugly. No, wait for the dark shadow to dry, go over it again, and then you'll have a nice thing going on, I promise. So let's do that again. Oh, don't forget underneath the little trunk. I'm sorry about my voice. I'm not much of a talker, so when I do speak in my videos, my voice is a little bit lacking. So I'm sorry. Art doesn't always have to be correct. Especially now that we have AI going on and they don't know how to do proportions like us or anything. Bro, I really hate now that like artists get like second guessed so quickly just because they don't know how to draw hands yet. Hands is famously one of the hardest things to draw. Ask 5 artists what their least favorite thing to draw is. I guarantee one of them will say hands. I find it really ironic that the one thing that AI struggles to do when it comes to like humans is hands, because that's something that they can't do. They don't have hands, they can't create, you know? It's not authentic, it's not, they didn't do anything, they can't do that, it's not a tangible thing they can do. And I think that's kind of poetic. I think someone needs to do something with that, and I won't be the one to do it because I don't have any ideas. So oh yes, also this was something that I did in like the digital versions for leaving space around the edge. I forgot what that's called, for like printing and stuff. I forgot what that's called, but I did that since I was doing digital art. I ended up really loving how it looked when I left space around the edge and I did like the like these in the corners. I did like a shadow going in and it looked so lovely that I decided to keep it. Yes ma'am. Yes ma'am. Now let's go in with the bushes. With like perspective and that, I don't know if this is right actually. I was about to say, like with this I'm making the darkest ones up front, but actually that's not right. The light ones should be closer up and the darker ones should be further out, but I guess we're doing the opposite today because that's how I did it in my comic for some reason. It looks good though, looks good, but it's not logical. You'll find that's how I do a lot of things around here. Not everything needs logic. As long as you find it cool, as long as you want to do it, inspires you, then why not do it? No one can tell you you're doing it wrong. That's something I love about art. Art is like, you can't really do anything wrong because there's no rules to it exactly. And if someone's telling you that there is, that's just their way of doing something. You know, those are just things that maybe have been projected onto them, that they're projecting onto you, that is not actually true. Because art is one of those beautiful things where it's like, you have full control. You know, like if you don't like something, you can start again, you can rub it out, you can do whatever, you can press the undo button if you're a digital artist. Like honestly, like it's all down to you, and I really love that. I love that a lot. Also with YouTube in general, guys, I want to upload more. I really do. Like I know that you should probably upload weekly when it comes to bigger videos, but your girl goes to college full-time as a student, and obviously I have university stuff lurking in the background at the moment that I am working on. I've sent my applications, guys. And there's a chance I might have to move away, and there's a lot to deal with, okay? A lot of new things to deal with in life, and a lot of things that are not predictable, which is something I don't like. Pretty sure I have a bit of autism, guys. And when I say a bit, I mean a bit. Yes, there's quite a few things I could name, but I shall not, because maybe that's another topic for a different video. Anyway, what I'm currently doing here to get the lighter colour on these bushes is I'm dipping it in the same exact ink as I did for this. However, I am going back to my water and like dipping it slightly to get rid of a drop, I would say, of ink. And I'm going back in and it looks like this. It's the same colour, it's just less pigment, which is exactly what we want. And if you want to spread it a tiny bit, add water and you're good. And it will keep the same tone if you just go back over it. See? Perfect. I'm going to keep doing that for the rest of these little sections. That's a bit darker, so we're going to distribute that between these two spots as well. You'll see that, like, I don't know, I find this process very therapeutic in a way, which is something I haven't always had with art. Of course I've always had it because there's a reason why I like it, and you know, the creative process is something I treasure a lot, but finding something that clicks is something that's so hard, and it's just not talked about enough, in my opinion. Like, enough for comfort, I would say, because there's like such a high expectations that you need to know your art style, or you need to know what you're doing to get by. I see where people are coming from, for sure. I definitely see where people are coming from. I don't know if it's true. I don't know. I feel like knowing things straight away is obviously the convenient want in life, but especially like when it comes to art, but it's just not natural. It's not natural. And you'll see what I'm doing here, guys. With ink, it is all about building up slowly and water control. I would say water control, gradients, knowing when to do certain things, seeing what you think looks good, and just, yeah, I'm blending out the edges to get a lovely effect at the moment. And if it goes dry, add more water. It's kind of like when your watercolors go dry, add some water. I'm also going to do the same to these edges now, except I'm going to go a little bit further, because as you can see, as how I explained, it kept that bit and made it darker, but extended it out that way. So now we have these darkened edges, but it's extended, and you didn't have to fight to put more color on the already wet bit, and it's just a nightmare, and you don't want to do that. So do what I told you, add water to the edges so it can wet it again and make it easy to blend out. You can do that with the bit that you did earlier. It's just so blendable, and I love that about this process. It's so lovely. It's really, I think it's very, like, I don't know if it's beginner friendly because I've been an artist my whole life, so I don't really have a good tabs on whether something's like easy for everyone or not, but I feel like this could be easy for anyone. So I'm gonna do what I just did with the edges, but on the trees, okay? So except I'm gonna go around the whole thing slightly. I'm gonna dip back in, sorry. I'm gonna dip back in, and I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go over like this. And there you have sort of a more gradient thing going on again. I'm gonna add water to the bits that are connecting to that. I'm gonna do that. Ignore like the pencil shavings and stuff like interfering. I have no excuse. One tree. I would have left a bit more white if next time, but that's okay. That's okay. Be kind to yourself, guys. Be so kind to yourself. It's something I'm still learning to do, and it definitely takes time, but it's not something that's impossible, and it's something that will help you a lot. So learn it. Try and believe in yourself a little bit more today, or tomorrow, or forever. I'm yapping. That's something you'll learn about me. I yap, especially when I'm doing activities like this. I start yapping, but some people enjoy it, some people don't. And if you happen to enjoy it, maybe you should subscribe. Golly, I'm so silly. Doing the same thing, watering up the edges and going back in. Every time you see the brush go, that's just me either tapping away water or adding more water. You'll be able to tell. You should be able to tell. Okay, look, genuinely, I'm back. I did a tiny bit off of camera just to not feel the pressure for a little bit, and all I've done is just add some deeper shadows, which I am in the process of continuing. Oh dear, I forgot to blend this out, guys. Look at me lacking. Caught me lacking, guys. Can't believe that. See, making mistakes is okay, and I feel like this media, this like material, like ink and water, is so forgiving, like so incredibly forgiving, especially in my art style that I've chosen for my comic here. So forgiving and lovely. Now, in my opinion, the trees are looking a bit pale, including this, so I'm gonna wait for the bottom half to dry, and we're gonna go back into the corners and the trees and make it even darker. And that's practically like the inking process as a whole, to be honest. It's just looking a bit more, looking at what needs more depth and definition in the image, and deciding for yourself, like, should this be darker? Should, you know, Does this convey the right emotion? Like, again, I'm kind of ignoring my own advice here and going in when it's a little bit too wet to layer, but that's simply because this is an example, so I just want to kind of get it done for you guys. I love you guys. I don't know you. I don't know you, but some of you leave some really lovely comments and I read them all. I try and respond to all of them, and I believe I do. So test me with that streak. I was also thinking, since I hit 100 subscribers, I should probably do something special, but I do not have any ideas, and I don't think I have enough people who know about my channel or care enough about my channel to actually want an 100 subscriber special. But if you're one of those people who are actually interested in doing something for that, do let me know. Don't let me down. You utilize my comment section. Harass me, actually. Harass me in the comments if you want something. I wouldn't mind a Q&A, but again, the issue of not being well known enough is striking once again. Blending the edges in, and you can literally see the paper deteriorating, which is why I said at the start you should probably use some thick cartilage paper if you have any, or just watercolor paint paper is good as well. Squash, you can see it disintegrating. Now, if you have good eyeballs like me, I feel like you'd see that this tree is lacking. Like, just this tree and the trunks actually of these trees. Again, it just all practically needs to be 50 times darker. I promise that I'm really good with words, and I actually got a really high grade in English lit and language. It just doesn't show all the time. You know, it's been a while since I've left secondary school, but not that it matters. Not that it matters at all. I do write lyrics in my free time. I actually do. I write them for my friend actually sometimes, because he is good. He's good at playing instruments. He also writes his own songs. I don't know if he's planning to actually do anything with that, but if he does, I'll alert my viewers about that and let you support him in his music endeavors. He is in the same course as me, my art course, and he's been my best friend for like over a decade, no joke. I love him. I love him so much. He's so sweet. He got me the sweetest stuff for Christmas. What have you guys been doing for Christmas? I'm recording this on Boxing Day around, I don't know what time it is. If I had to guess, it's around like 10 PM for me at the moment. A cheeky little thing I love to do in my backgrounds of these is add some random bits like this. The darker in some random places, the better. Maybe thinking, Sophie, you're ruining it. What are you doing? Stay with me. Stay with me, chat. We're gonna switch maybe to a slightly bigger brush for this. Oh, that one's a bit crusty. I don't know if this brush is like any better, but you wanna dip, and you wanna have like, you wanna keep the wateriness of this high. So it's kind of the effect of when you put a drop of ink into a puddle and it will expand in a way, and if you fail to blend it out quick enough, you'll get splotchies like these, which will 100% happen with this one because it's a really thin piece. Again, it's just knowing when to hydrate things in time. It's been a while for me, bro. Like, I haven't done this in a long time and I forgot that you need to act incredibly quickly. But by doing this, you kind of achieve almost a stormy looking sky that's a lot more interesting to look at in a way. Because we've done this, we should probably darken the rest of the image now, because otherwise it just looks like the sky is overpowering. This is what I mean when I'm like, sometimes I accidentally just talk like an infant if I'm like either A, talking too quickly, or B, I'm like pressured in any way. Like, does anyone else have it when like you're talking to an audience or like it's actually something important and you just mess everything possible up ever? I don't know why I just started calling it Exhibit A. Exhibit A. What did I tell you? Oh my gosh. Anyways, I just wanted to talk about phobias for a second. What are your phobias? Are they bad? Are they really like meh? Like, what are you afraid of? Because I was just thinking about public speaking, and this is something I've gotten better at as I've gotten older. I'm like not a fan of it, like I would rather not, you know, but especially in my course in college. Sorry I keep going back to this topic, it's all I know at the moment. I don't work a typical job like at all. Like I just don't work. I'm a full-time art student, so I don't know any better, guys. So yeah, anyway, I have to do like some public speaking in my course, especially when I go back after my Christmas break I'm having, because you have to start pitching your ideas to an audience and sort of chipping in saying, I think that's a good idea, I think that's terrible, you know, stuff like that. And gives me the shudders, but it must be done. Wish me luck with that. Oh yeah, when I was in secondary school, for my English class in like year 9, I don't know what that's equivalent to my American viewers, but I'm sure someone will help you figure it out. I had to do a presentation, more like a speech actually. Like there was no slideshows or anything, like you just had to stand in front of the class and speak. Ideally memorized, which I kind of managed to do, but not too well. Like I still had my script with me because I know what happens. I freeze up and I forget and I have to look. I did a presentation on why I hate football in front of probably the most chud guys ever, and I did that on purpose. Yeah, I did. And dare I say, I think I got a standing ovation. Keep in mind, I'm someone who's like deathly afraid of speaking, especially if it's to people who are like highly opinionated of you already. Like in secondary school, people, especially in year 9, like the lower years, people made fun of me left, right and center. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it, okay? People were applauding me, like people I never really ever spoke to were applauding me for this speech as something as silly as about like disliking football and thinking it's overrated. And it just really goes to show that you think something's gonna go badly, but actually if you try it, there's a chance it could go well. And that's a really something to celebrate, in my opinion. Like the fact I still remember that now, like, there's probably so many details I've left out because it was so long ago, but the fact I remember that it went well and it made me happy and people came up to me afterwards and complimented how well I put things is such a big achievement for someone who struggles to speak, especially in front of crowds. Try and face your phobias, guys. I'm not one to talk because I'm just not. But yes, as a very anxious individual, I'm trying to learn to face things that younger Sophie would never even dare think about. Oh yeah, you also get these kind of lightning looking lines. That's because it's like too salty. If you want to get rid of them, try and blend them out, but if you like them, keep them. But this is also due to me not waiting for the paper to dry before applying more water and ink, so that's why it looks like that, if you're wondering. Just more advertisement to wait and be patient, I suppose. But speaking of waiting, I think I'm gonna wait for this to dry and then I'll get back with you and we can do the last stage. Alright guys, welcome back. I could not physically wait any longer. It's dry enough, I think, to be able to begin what I'm doing, which you will need a fine liner black inky pen to do this. Something very important to me during the line art of this scenery, this process, this art style is line weight. There's a lot of line weight and you have to kind of think logically where it should go, as well as like what you think would look good. So for example, an easy one would be the side of this tree, because let me just do a little line. It's more shadowed, so you're kind of treating where to put the most line. For example, this chunk will be fully black because that's where the most shadow is, that's where the most intense color would be, logically. You can also think where to put these chunks of like extra line weight where it's up closer in view, the scene, I suppose, like how the viewer would see it, just to give it more of like a life. Now naturally I would do the trees second, I feel. Again, I just kind of want to begin with the ground, which is simple. Just a line, doesn't have to be perfect. Usually just for texture, I like to add some random little like tufts of grass. This really helps give like a nightimey theme, by the way. like a twilight hour kind of feel. Obviously you want to fill that in. Also, you know, remember when I said it was like 10 p.m? Nope, it's like 1 a.m. I wildly guessed that wrong. Time actually flies by when you're an artist, I swear to God. And if you get to a point where you're shading in so much black, consider switching pens. You do not have to feel pressure by using a fine liner the entire time if that's not for you. I just like this because it's so precise. At times, especially like in my book, I had to switch to Sharpie just to get the job done quicker, especially because I was on a time limit as well. I'm not really on a time limit here, but I do need to act like kind of quickly because some of y'all's attention spans is crazy. I'm adding a little bit of gradient, but in a very like streaky kind of manner to the ground here. Now my natural instinct is to do the closest object to the ground, which is the stump of this tree. So let's line this out nicely, and since there's more shadow on this side, I'm going to add a little bit of a thick line here, kind of following the natural shape of the stump. And also you can, if it sort of bends around a corner, you can also add a little bit there. This, I absolutely love line art, by the way, guys. I love it most of the time. When it gets along with me and it goes well, I love it. For this style in particular, it's so striking and you can't really go wrong. Now you could even go underneath and create some lines for like a shadow, but without there actually being a shadow, because there's already one here. We don't necessarily need another shadow. You know, it might be cool to do that. I haven't decided if I want to do that yet, so I'll get back to that eventually. My next instinct is to do this bush here, because we're kind of going up. So let's do this. Let's just do it in sections, so we'll count that as a section. That alone is a little bit boring, so we're going to look at the sizes of these kind of like rounded edges, and we're going to consider what would make more sense to be more line. My logic wants to say that the bigger the loop, the bigger the blocked out part and the outline should be. At least that's what looks good and makes sense to my brain, and probably the viewer's brain as well. Also, when shaping these bits, don't be afraid to go outside of the line to create the shape. Like, this is something that's like so easily malleable. Like, see, like I just accidentally went over that, which is so easily fixable because I can just give that more line weight to hide that mistake. See, if I do it again, I can do that, and it's a really fun process. Just see, if you want a little bit more of a curve, you can just add it, you know? Like, there's no pressure, and I feel like making those later decisions with the line art for this is so satisfying to do, and you get like a lot of like doing this. It makes me very happy. It brings me a lot of joy. I have a sneaking suspicion that after I upload this video, there's probably going to be another one back to back as well. Perhaps a couple days after, just because I have some time off at the moment, and I've said this from the second, you know, I'm gonna focus on YouTube for a tiny bit during this time off, just because I find YouTube to be something of like a privilege, like a joy that I don't often get to like indulge in as much as I want to, and this is genuinely how I want to use my time. Seriously, like, it's what I want to do. Haven't been doing too much in these holidays actually. Been a little bit uneventful, but in a good way, in the calm, peaceful way, which I appreciate. Does anyone actually use Movie Star Planet still, by the way? I am active on it every now and then. Like, when I'm on looking at my apps in my phone thinking this is just boring me now, I do go on MSP every now and then, and I'm like, hey guys, what are you up to? And literally nobody's there. It's actually radio silent. Oh my gosh, funny story actually. I have so many Movie Star Planet stories. It's actually comical. One of them is, do you guys remember the hackers, like, on MSP? Yeah, I pretended to be one of them so many times to scare my friend. I still haven't owned up to it to this day, but I feel like they'll know who I feel like they know. I feel like they know, or at least maybe they thought about it when they got older and they're like, wait, because I would always pretend to be like the creepy one who like whistled, and because I knew the password to this friend's account, I would log in and I would be on call with her. I know, the absolute audacity of me when I was younger. I was such a menace, honestly, and I kept this up for like months, and I didn't ever tell her that it was just me. Never told her, and it actually freaked her out as well, and I feel bad now because I've, you know, gained a bit of a conscience and I feel bad about it. But yeah, also funny story with that friend, we had a joint Movie Star Planet account that we both logged into and cherished to bits. I fell for the easiest trick in the book, which was, do you want an account makeover? And I was like, yeah. This was to a random person, by the way. This random person was asking if I wanted an account makeover. I was silly and young and I gave them the password and I was like, why can't I log back in? Yeah, I let that account get hacked, and it wasn't even primarily mine. It was like my friend used it like way more than I did, and I cried that day. I cried so many tears. Oh yeah, I even tried to become like a myth myself on Movie Star Planet. I made so many backup accounts. It was insane. I tried so hard to scare people. I don't know why, I just found it so entertaining. It didn't work, really. I only ever did it on my friends successfully, which is probably why I didn't stop doing it, because I gained something out of it. That sounds pretty awful when I put it like that, but it's a story. The nice thing is with drawing nature is if you do something a little bit wobbly, who cares? It's nature. That's how I feel right now, with my shaky hands at like 1:30 in the morning. By the way, I need to like get up kind of early tomorrow as well, so F my chungus life, I guess. But that's okay. Also, I'm really sorry. I sometimes get like the stereotypical like YouTube accent whenever I do a YouTube video, and I just turn American when I'm not American at all. I am British, quarter German, quarter Scottish, so if you hear that in my voice, that's what you're hearing. If you hear American, it's because of the heinous amount of like American content I grew up watching, and it's just, I hate to say it, but it's definitely like the tutorial like accent that I automatically accidentally put on if I'm like showing someone how to do something, or just like a formal kind of thing. I feel like I don't ever mean to do it, like I'm not consciously doing it, and I feel like it makes me sound super annoying as well. No hate to Americans, it just sounds annoying on me is what I mean to say. I like my softer voice I put on because that's my actual voice. I don't like it when I do this whole like thing. So if you know me in person, you'll probably hear every now and then like I'll just sound American, but I'm really not, like, at all. I'm trying to train myself out of it a little bit. Like, I have such like a, does everyone else have like a low-key identity crisis with their voice? Like, it just does things sometimes that you don't want it to, and you just kind of roll with it anyway, and you hate it. Like, you really hate it, but you just say, okay, you can stay. I don't want you to, but you can chill for now, because I reckon in this video you've probably like heard so many of my different kind of voices come out, and it's so like annoying for me as a person just listening back on that, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Why are you blue? Yes, anyone else get really irked out by their voice when I listen back to it? Because same. I just know that's gonna make me cringe in editing. Does anyone have any good Roblox games to play? Boycott Roblox, by the way. Not even boycott, it's just, you know the whole thing of Roblox going on. Not a fan of whatever's happening there, to be honest. Not a fan. I still use the platform because it's one of my sources of entertainment, I fear, but I'm still very disappointed. Like, extremely disappointed. The whole like Shep thing. Yeah, it's just like, in general, this is all about just playing with line weight and just having fun about it, really. Having fun with it, really. That's what I meant to say. I'm gonna try and do the thing I was on about earlier. My pen is actually running out. We love that around here. I don't like it. Don't do that. I'm gonna do the thing I told you not to do, which is go back over underneath a little bit. Actually, that does not look half bad. Because I added a bunch of lines and it kind of made it hard to see what the tree was doing. At the very end, I do go back over some things with more ink if I feel like it's necessary, especially. If you guys want to see me do any more of these like kind of like scenery or like page tutorials, do let me know. I don't know what I'm going to title this video, to be honest, because it's a bit of a mess. I feel like some people would want to be here to look at the book. Some people would want to look at like the help on this and ink. Kind of hard to put a label on that as a whole, but I'll give it a shot. Hopefully the right message gets across. Just adding some more streaky kind of like gradient lines, kind of what I did with the ground to the trees, just for fun. Probably not my best work, but it's just an example. I need to remind myself. Now what I like to do is I like to add a corner for like the edges of the paper in black little triangles, so we can work on the tone together over time. It's just so I can see like how dark I actually do want the edges to be, because I want it to be like that one setting that you can put on your pictures in like camera, like the camera app. I think we're at the stage where I would consider just this to be like this adding stuff stage and final edits. It would also make sense for there to be like more blades of grass, probably. You can add texture or whatever to it if you like. I am not going to, because I've already spent very long on this, so I'm not going to interfere with that. Again, just going back over some things to add more depth. I feel like the trees are still pale. Somehow pale are trees compared to what I actually would like them to be. In this case, I find like the brush, like doing that with the brush, like kind of doing it on its side, is nice for texture if you're really a texture lover like I am. Whereas if you want more of a smooth finish, consider adding more water, I would say, to achieve gradients. However, I still love a gradient, as you can tell. Like, it's still a very classic part of my process for this. I love a gradient. It's a basic starter thing, I would say. Obviously, I need to now darken these as well, because it needs to make sense. And I feel like we're getting to the end here of this piece soon, but this is kind of like a general gist of how long, or my thoughts whilst making this. Not how long it would be, because I'm obviously going to edit this and cut it down for you, so it's not extremely long. But I'll have a look at how long this was in real time if I remember to, and I'll show you in the video like how long this actually took me to do. But considering it's been a while and I haven't like oh, that was bad. And I haven't did my signature, haven't really touched this medium for like a hot minute. I've done another project since this one. I think I've done quite well. Just take it, remember this, keep that in your brain. Quite similar, huh? Maybe even better, who knows? I mean, probably not. Actually, maybe in some aspects it has a lot more depth, the one I did just now, but yes, that is how I did every page basically. But obviously some had characters, some didn't, and anyway, the finishing touches, obviously the holes I didn't use this exact tool. However, how I would go about doing that, I'm not actually going to do it since the paper is wet again, and piercing a hole on wet paper will ruin the art. So I'm going to kind of just show you what I would do. I would hold up the piece against a light or a window, so it would be backwards against the window, and I would see where the lines are and stuff, and I would mark where I'd want the holes. And I kind of treated where I'd put the holes as where I would put the line weight. So also I treated it like screen tones. So I would mark this, I would mark that, I would mark the floor, and then I would get my tool and I would pierce holes in it through the back, and then that would give me the lovely like texture that I managed to achieve before on the art, and then that would make the page complete. I need to date my work so much more often than I actually do. Anyway, this is the end of this video. I hope this was helpful or insightful. I hope you enjoyed the most part. Yeah, I'm just trying to find I'm just trying to find the page real quick, just for cheeky comparisons. There we go, that's a nice shot. There you go. You can see that I'm indeed the person who made this book. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. My name is Sophie, or Soph's Comet, Soph, whatever you'd like to call me, and I hope you have a lovely evening, morning, night, afternoon, whatever time it is for you in the world, whatever you're doing. I love you so much, take care of yourself, and goodbye.